Hi guys! Happy belated Halloween! I hope everybody managed to stay safe and dry during Hurricane Sandy. To all those in New York who are affected by the hurricane, my thoughts and prayers are with you, and hopefully New York can make a speedy recovery. Speaking of New York, I heard that the live screenings went really well, so that's great. I hope that everyone who went had an awesome time. Super jealous that I couldn't be there and that there isn't a screening in Canada. Bangkok and Paris screenings were announced, so go to the Facebook page or liveviewing.jp if you haven't already to get the details. For those of you who live in the US, don't forget San Francisco and LA coming up this month. So if you haven't got your tickets already, what are you waiting for? Go get them. If I could justify the time and money, I'd be there in a heartbeat. However, I am saving for Long Overseas Tour, Dome Tour 2014, and Tohoku Expo 2014. Yes! Finally an expo that it looks like I'm going to be able to go to. Now, I'm not going to pretend to know the corporate structure of Lover Soul as a company, or Happy Swing as a company, or GLAY as a brand, or any of the individual members as their own brand. I'd love to have access to the proper information for that, but to be honest, I don't even know where to start. So I'm running purely on my own assumptions. If I make an ass out of you and me, well, I apologize. But it seems to me that somewhere, someone has dropped the ball marketing-wise. Marketing in Japan is fine. You know, it's really great. They have a big name already, and they're marketed well to Japan and really an Asian market. But the world isn't limited to Asia. And if they want to spread out and really spread out properly, then I think that they need to put more time, money, and effort into the proper marketing for that. Now, you know, the internet has great marketing opportunities, and clearly they've invested time and money into YouTube, Mixi, Twitter, Facebook, MySpace. But if you're going to go ahead and make those efforts, then you need to put the full effort in and give those things the attention that they deserve. I'm not talking about updating or keeping the content fresh or anything like that. I'm talking about keeping the content formatted in such a way that it's easy to understand. From what I've seen of the English posted on the Facebook page, it's just really not cutting it. You know, one time on the G Direct Facebook page, by the way, if you haven't liked the G Direct Facebook page, go like it as soon as you finish watching this, because I think it's going to be one of those things where they're looking to see how many non-Japanese are interested in G Direct, and hopefully if lots and lots of non-Japanese are interested in G Direct, they will look at shipping outside of the country around the world. But other than that one post where the English was actually easily understood, I haven't seen anything that, you know, is grammatically correct or translated well. And, you know, I know that GLAY can do better than that. It's not hard to hire someone who, you know, has a high TOEIC score. Like, in today's Japan, a TOEIC score is necessary for anything, even if you don't do a job that requires English. So, you know, to hire someone with a TOEIC score of like 750, 800, something like that, it's not impossible. And then just have that person do your translations so that you can present a really coherent image to the world. As soon as they started shipping Happy Swing overseas, they should have become more foreigner friendly. I don't know if you've ever seen those HSBC ads. You know, when you're walking to get on an airplane and you go through the tunnel and they have ads saying things like, there are 5 times as many people learning English in China as there are people living in England. I really feel like that says it all. If someone has access to the internet, chances are they're more likely to be able to figure out or learn English than they are Japanese. There are more people learning English in the world than there are people learning Japanese. I think that's pretty much just a fact. So, you know, like if you're trying to reach a more diversified audience, chances are the common denominator is English. So as you've probably noticed, this attempt to make it one long take ain't happening. So I'm going to ask you to bear with me because I'm just going to read off my notes when I kind of starting to go off on a tangent, because this is probably like the 34th time that I've done this and I'm starting to drive myself insane. So bear with me. Anyway, going back to what I was saying, I feel like they have all these untapped revenue sources and I don't think they've really known how to go about tapping into it. While it's more of a niche market outside of Asia, there's still a vast revenue source that they haven't catered to. I mean, there are people who would gladly spend their disposable income on GLAY, be it goods, CDs, DVDs, concerts, etc. And yet, up until now, there hasn't been really an attempt to tap into that. I find that, although I'm not sure it's intentional, they really aren't overseas fan friendly. Clearly, they are looking to change that, but I really feel like something should have been started with more gusto way back. Maybe they had less control of their own brand, of their own marketing, but with 2006 Rebirth, I feel like they kind of lost any excuses. Starting over, I mean, really starting over is obviously very hard. It takes, money, and it takes time. But I feel like if they had put the right people in the right positions when this rebirth kind of started, or, even after the rebirth was well in progress, then I think they would have had a much stronger foothold on an overseas fan base and could be making huge amounts of capital right now instead of inching forward, testing the waters here and there. Of course, it takes money to, jump in and make an overseas international splash, so to speak. But as the saying goes, it takes money to make money, right? You're not going to get anything out of it if you don't invest yourselves fully in it. And, that's fine when you're starting out at first. It's hard to know where to invest your money, especially, when you're starting out on your own. And it's a bit of a risk, but I think that it was probably a risk that would have had paid off and would be paying off more now. I think that they really should have had a little bit more confidence and made that jump and hired someone to market them overseas. Doing it now in 2012, I personally think they've limited themselves. They have stuck themselves into a niche market. Outside of Asia, they've really limited themselves to people that come across them via, anime or a general like for J music. I'm not even going to start in on that. Or, people learning Japanese, that kind of a market. People with interest in Japanese culture. And I feel like they've limited themselves to those subcultures. Because really, I think it's difficult for a group of middle-aged men in sometimes over-the-top costumes who wear makeup to break into a more mainstream culture this late in the game. To a certain extent, L'Arc-en-Ciel did it, X-Japan did it. But they started to break into it much earlier on. I think that they've paved the way a little bit, but GLAY has enough power, enough of a fan base, enough of a following, and popularity in Asia that they didn't need to ride someone else's coattail. Wow, I am not having luck with memory cards today. My memory card died twice. Hopefully this one lasts. Anyway, back to what I was saying. I think that GLAY has had enough of a fan base in Japan, in Asia, that they could have been that breakthrough leader. They didn't need to follow, on L'Arc-en-Ciel or X-Japan's coattails, but breaking through at this point, it feels a little bit like they've let somebody else lead the way. My boyfriend told me a long time ago that he read an article on why L'Arc-en-Ciel has been able to find success overseas and why GLAY just hasn't really been able to make a successful jump. And that article, again, came down to marketing. So I think that, there really is a lot to be said about marketing and their lack of marketing and how proper marketing could have helped them. It's great that they're catching on now, but is it too little too late? Really, only time will tell. I hope that it's not too little too late, but I really think that they haven't done themselves justice by jumping on the bandwagon so late in the game. Now, I don't know if Loversoul has a director of marketing. I would assume that they do, but I think that this person needs to be reevaluated on their job. Or another person needs to be brought in to be a director of overseas marketing. If that hasn't happened already, I think that there just needs to be a much bigger focus on overseas marketing. And I know I'm just kind of repeating myself, but I think that's really, really, really what it comes down to. You know, if they wanted to take it a step further, they could start something like Happy Swing America, or Happy Swing Asia, or Happy Swing Europe, etc., etc. And have small overseas teams editing Happy Swing and releasing it in different languages. Now, obviously, they wouldn't be able to have the same release dates as Happy Swing is released in Japan, but I think there are enough fans who would be appreciative of getting that information in their language, you know, even if it's 3 months late or 6 months late or whatever it is, just being able to have that option. You know, in today's day and age, it could all be done over the internet. They could do the Happy Swing fan page in English, Chinese, French, you know, all those places where they're doing the screenings. They could have a Happy Swing page for that, and they could put all the information up there. And, you know, if they want to charge for it, then they can do it the same way they do GLAY Mobile. You sign up with a credit card, and they charge your credit card, I think it's like 350 yen every month, and then you have access to all these things. You know, really, they just need to be running everything in, if not only better English, then better English and other languages. The best online businesses do it. You know, if you go, say, somewhere like Neiman Marcus, Saks Fifth Avenue, Louis Vuitton, something like that, even if they don't ship overseas to those countries, they have multiple language options, so you can view their homepage and their product in your language of choice. This is something that I think that GLAY, Happy Swing, Loversoul really needs to look at. They've opened up Happy Swing to overseas shipping, but there's still so much more that they need to do. There's no reason in my mind why G-Direct can't be open to overseas shipping. There are people who are willing to throw their money at GLAY, and they can't do it. GLAY's not giving them a way to do it. Instead, they have to go through all these third-party sites or through stores in Chinatown or wherever it is that make a huge profit off of these items. And, you know, people are willing to pay, and they'd love to connect with GLAY directly through G-Direct, but it's G-Direct and it's GLAY that's not allowing the fans to connect with them through that. And that's really something I think that they really need to look at. That's another position I think that they could use to fill. Director of e-commerce. They need to turn Happy Swing, they need to turn G-Direct into an online business. Anyway, so I really think, as I've said over and over and over again, it all comes down to marketing. The information, you know, they need to make that information more accessible to non-Japanese and on a much larger official capacity. You know, it's great if I tweet something that I read on Happy Swing or read on G-Direct or whatever. I actually got into a little bit of trouble for tweeting something that I read on GLAY Mobile. Not gonna go there, because if you followed me on Twitter at my previous account, it got stopped because I tweeted something that probably I shouldn't have tweeted. Oops. Not trying to steal information from GLAY or anything, just trying to really get fans the information that they wouldn't have had otherwise. Comments, thoughts, questions, hate mail, leave them here. Well, actually forget the hate mail. Like mail is good. If you like me, tell me. Chances are I like you too. Unless, of course, you're creepy. But anyway, never mind. If you haven't already, please press subscribe, and I will have another video up for you soon. But really, 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 I'd love to hear everybody else's opinion. So please leave a comment. Thank you. Bye.